Welcome to the final review. Let's take a look at question number 1. It says let's find f of 3 of the function f of x. So we're going to replace x with 3, so I get 5 plus the square root of 3 plus 1. The square root of 3 plus 1 would be 3 plus 1 is 4, square root is 4 is 2, 2 plus 5 is 7. Number 2 says, what is the domain of this same function from number 1? So if we're looking for the domain of that, we know that we can't have a negative under a square root. That would be undefined. So the smallest number I have that's defined would be a negative 1. Because if I put negative 1 plus 1 gives me 0, and the square root of 0 is 0. So that does exist. So I know that I'm going to start being defined at negative 1, and I'm going to go to infinity. That's number 2. Number 3. It asks us to determine between which consecutive integers the real zeros of the function are located on the given function. My f of x is equal to 3x cubed minus 6x squared minus 2x plus 2. The best way to find out where things are going through the x-axis is to make a table that is on the interval from negative 2 to 4. So I'm going to find some numbers, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to find those numbers and see what happens. When I plug in, I've already done this, so I already have negative 42, negative 5, 2, negative 3, negative 2, 23, and 90. Those are the values. So I know that when I go from negative to a positive number in here, that I'm going through 0. So I know between negative 1 and 0, I'm going through the x-axis. So between these, it's not a point, it's a between those things, between negative 1 and 1. And between 0 and 1, I'm going back through because I'm going from a positive to a negative. So from 0 to 1, I'm also going through the x-axis. Then again between 2 and 3 because that goes from negative to positive. So we have 3 places where it's going through the x-axis. Number 4 says find the average rate of change. Let's do a rate of change question. They give us the function as f of x equals 3x squared minus 8x plus 2, and we want to find the rate of change on the interval from 4 to 8. If you remember, the formula for that is f of b minus f of a all over b minus a. So let's plug in some values. So I'm going to put f of 8. Let me grab a small eraser there. F of 8 minus f of 4 all over 8 minus 4. F of 8, 8 squared is 64. 64 times 3 minus 64 plus 2 gives me 130. Minus 4 squared, 16 times 2 is 64. Minus 32 plus 2 gives me 18. All over 8 minus 4. Simplifying that down, I get 112 over 4, which is 28, which is the average rate of change on the interval from 4 to 8. Number 5 says find g of f of 3, and my f function is x squared minus 9. My g function is x minus 2. If I plug in 3 in my f function, 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0, so my f of 3 is 0. And then I'm going to put 0 in for x over here, and I get 0 minus 2, so I get negative 2. Number 6. They want you to find f of g of x, not of a number, but of the function itself. So I'm going to take g of x right here, and I'm going to replace it with x minus 2, because that's what g of x is. And then I'm going to put x minus 2 where the x is in the f function. So I'm going to have x minus 2 squared minus 9. And of course, we got to FOIL that out into x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 9. Simplify that down, I get x squared minus 4x minus 5. And then the last one they want us to do is find the inverse, g inverse of x. To do that, we have to take our original function, replace g of x is the same as y. We're going to transpose our y and our x, so I get x equals y minus 2, and then solve for y. So x plus 2 is equal to our g inverse. So x plus 2 is the inverse. Remember, inverse does not mean finding the opposite of. Number 8. We have solve this. First thing we got to do to solve it is we have to get the square root by itself. So I have x minus 2 equals the square root of 2x plus 4. Square both sides. Remember, when we square both sides, we have to check for extraneous roots. FOIL this out, I get x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equal to 2x plus 4. Square and square root are opposite operations. Minus 2x minus 2x minus 4 minus 4. I get x squared minus 6x equals 0. Factoring that to get my answers, I'm going to get x times the quantity of x minus 6, greatest common factor was x, so I get 0 and 6 are my two answers. Now, I got to be careful not to stop there because we squared both sides, and every time you square both sides, you have to check for extraneous roots. So I'm going to put in 0. I get 0 equals 2 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4, square root of 4 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. So is 4 equal to 0? I'm going to say definitely not. Cross that out. And if I put in 6, 6 equals 2 times 6 is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16, square root of 16 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6. So that one works. Let's take a look at the next one, number 9. It says state all the possible zeros, the number of possible zeros and turning points. All right, in the function f of x equals x to the 5th plus 3x to the 4th plus 2x cubed. Now we know that the number of possible x-intercepts is going to be equal to the power of the polynomial. So we're going to have 5. The turning points would be 1 less or 4. Always 1 less. I'm going to stop here, and we're going to start on the next section, or the next question on the next video. Good luck.